Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow pilots, whoever's watching the tape. We're here in a grass strip in Vero Beach, Florida, commuting down south to Palm Beach, where we're gonna catch a JetBlue flight over to New York. Beautiful evening, winds are calm, nice and clear. Temperature outside is about 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Up in New York, we got some snow. 35 degrees, 6 inches of snow on the ground. Okay, we gotta run it up. RPM's good, 2 clicks to the left, back to both. 1 click to the left, back to both. Carburetor heat on, there's your drop. Plenty of gas on the left, less gas on the right. We're gonna stay on the right tank. Flight control check, left aileron going up, right aileron going up, elevator up and down, and rudder check, good. Oil pressure is still warming up a little bit. Current time is 5:10 p.m. There we go. Throttle up. Static RPM's good. Stick forward, tail's coming up. Building some speed. Airplane wants to come up. There we go. Off she goes. Safe altitude, pitch to VY, turn on course, and trim the airplane for VY climb. Intercom's a little bit quieter this way. We gotta continue our climb to our cruising altitude. Of either 3,500 or 4,500, which is a nice comfortable altitude for safer flight. Since our magnetic course is between 0 to 179, we're going to pick odd plus 500. That's what the VFR recommended altitude in the Airman Information Manual is. So that's what we're going to be climbing up to. Best rate of climb on this aircraft is 72 miles an hour. So we're going to adjust our pitch attitude looking outside on the horizon to maintain 72 miles an hour. At the same time, we're adding our right rudder to maintain coordinated flight controls. When I say right rudder, I mean sufficient enough to maintain that bull center. this climb, we're estimating 39 minutes to Palm Beach. Probably take about an hour and a half driving. You got to go up a little bit north, and then go east, then go south, then go back west, and then catch the highway, which is a bunch of left turns and right turns and S-turns and up and down. This is much faster and much more fun to get to our destination. As we're climbing up at 72 miles an hour VY, we're going to be discussing aircraft documents. It doesn't matter what aircraft you're flying. If it's a standard category aircraft, you must have on board the aircraft 5 documents that are related to the aircraft. These 5 documents are ARROW. ARROW. A as in Alpha, R as in Romeo, R as in Romeo, O as in Oscar, and W as in Whiskey. Gonna go ahead and turn the TCAS on here. We're getting pretty close to some airspace, so we want to keep an eye and see what aircraft is out there. So far, nothing out. ARROW. A stands for Airworthiness Certificate. Before you can fly an aircraft, normal category aircraft, you must have an Airworthiness Certificate on board the aircraft. An Airworthiness Certificate is a certificate that is issued by the FAA, which states that that aircraft is airworthy to fly. It could be an original airworthiness certificate, which was issued when they certify the aircraft by the factory, or a duplicate that the owner requested after the original certificate was issued. Sounds pretty bright. I want to go ahead and put my sunglasses. You can see how bright it is out there. Not much to see yet, but maybe when we get to our cruise, we'll see the sun better. After the airworthiness certificate, you need to have a registration. Registration means, just like driving a car, the aircraft is registered. There's an owner to the aircraft, and you carry that registration on board the aircraft. There's our cruising altitude of 3,500 feet. We're going to pitch the nose down. We're going to put the nose of the aircraft right on the horizon and accelerate to our cruise, and slowly throttle back to our cruise RPM, which is about 2,400. As we're cruising now, looks like it's only 24 minutes because we're picking up some tailwind up here at 3,500. It's not worth to go up higher because it takes you longer to get up there, and such a short 20-minute, 30-minute flight doesn't make sense. Doesn't pay to go up higher. But generally, the higher you go, the more efficient the aircraft is, and the better the true airspeed of the aircraft. So we talked about an airworthiness certificate, and we talked about registration. The next item on the list is another R, which is Romeo. And that is radio telephone license. can have it for the aircraft itself, you can have it for the pilot. It's not required on domestic flights, but when you're going international, it is required. It's part of my documentation when I fly in the aircraft. I make sure I have it. After the radio telephone license, you have the O, is the operating manual of the aircraft, or pilot's operating manual, POH. The POH is a book that describes all the items that are related to the aircraft. What systems, dimensions, weight, maximum speeds, stall speeds, takeoff procedures, landing procedures, cruise procedures, emergency procedures, what type of fuel we use on the aircraft, what type of propeller we have on the aircraft, what type of engine the aircraft has, what's the maximum speed. It is a required item on board the aircraft. You must carry it when you're flying. Next item on the list is a W, which is whiskey, and that's going to be weight and balance. Weight and balance is basically a document that states that the basic empty weight of the aircraft is such and such, the maximum payload is such and such, unusable fuel is such and such, maximum fuel capacity, and center of gravity of the aircraft. That means technically you cannot load the aircraft too nose heavy or too aft, because it's going to throw the aircraft out of balance. If the nose is too heavy, it's going to be very difficult to rotate for takeoff or flare for landing. If it's going to be tail heavy, it may prematurely rotate or get into a stall when you're flaring for landing. And that is why you want to make sure the aircraft is within center of gravity limits. So to summarize, we have ARROW, which is required documents to be on board the aircraft. That's a worthiness certificate, registration, radio license, operating manual, and number 5 is weight and balance. Now let's talk about the pilot. What does the pilot need to have on his possession before they can exercise the privilege of flying the aircraft? You need to have with you on your possession a pilot certificate for the category and class of aircraft that you're going to be flying. This aircraft is an airplane, single engine land. You need to have a pilot's license. You need to have a student pilot's license, a private pilot's license, commercial pilot's license, airline transport pilot license, with whatever privileges for airplanes, single engine land. Legally, you cannot fly this aircraft if it's an airplane with a helicopter rotorcraft training. Okay? Other than that, we need to have a medical certificate. And a medical certificate needs to be a certificate for the type of operation you're doing. If it's for pleasure, a third-class medical is sufficient. If it's flight instructing, a third-class medical is sufficient. If it's commercial operation, you're going to need a second-class medical certificate because you're getting paid or higher. If it's an air carrier certificate, you need your first class medical as a pilot in command or second class medical as a second in command. So to summarize, the documents we need right now, this very second, in order to fly this aircraft legally, is 5 documents for the aircraft, which we talked about: the worthiness certificate, registration, radio license, operating manual, and weight and balance form. And the pilot needs to have on his possession a pilot certificate for the category and class of aircraft to be flown, and a medical certificate for the type of operation that the pilot is doing. Now, there's other stuff that has to be done in order to make the aircraft airworthy, other than the airworthiness certificate. And that's maintenance. Any aircraft that you want to fly legally needs to have an annual inspection done within the preceding 12 calendar months. An annual inspection is an inspection by a mechanic that has inspection authorization, IA, to inspect the aircraft and document it in the aircraft logbook, power plant logbook, propeller logbook if applicable, that certifies, I certify this aircraft was inspected accordance to FAR 43 such and such, and I find this aircraft to be airworthy and pass annual inspection. If the aircraft is operated for hire, commercial operation, that aircraft needs to have a 100-hour inspection. The 100-hour inspection can be done by either an A&P mechanic or an IA. So every 100 hours, the aircraft needs to be inspected. The inspection is basically the same thing as an annual inspection. They cover every single item on the annual inspection. However, an A&P can do the 100-hour inspection because the aircraft is going through an annual inspection with an IA, which is kind of a higher class of mechanic to certify that the aircraft annually is airworthy to fly. In addition to that, there are certain inspections the aircraft has to take as far as equipment. An ELT, which is an emergency locator transmitter, needs to be inspected and batteries replaced every 12 calendar months. Pitot-static system of the aircraft, which is altimeter, vertical speed indicator, airspeed indicator, static ports, pitot-static system, pitot tube, needs to be inspected every 24 calendar months. If the aircraft is flying under instrument rules, the transponder itself also needs to be inspected within 24 calendar months. Looks like the sun is getting away from us, as you can tell over there. Let's see if we can... yeah, maybe we can see it a little bit. Yeah, she's right there. Beautiful evening, nice and calm. Okay, back with you. So back to the transponder. That transponder needs to be inspected every 24 calendar months. They're supposed to have a signature or a sign-off in the logbook that that transponder was inspected if it's blown in instrument condition. That transponder has a mode C. The mode C has to be inspected also with certain altitudes. I believe it's from 0 to 20,000 feet for something like that, or even higher if you're flying a jet. And they're supposed to have a card with all the errors on the mode C on the logbook. Getting pretty close. We're going to go ahead and check the weather down there. This way we're ahead of the game.
North Palm Beach County General Aviation Airport. Automated weather observation 226 Zulu. Weather. Wind 120 at 3. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition 2 clouds at 4,800. Temperature 25 Celsius. 2.22 Celsius. Altimeter 3012. North Palm Beach County General.
Okay, looks like the wind is 120 at 3, which is very basically calm. Not much wind out there. This is an uncontrolled airport, so we have to self-announce our intention coming into that airport. We're going to use runway 13 because that's the most convenient one getting in.
Australian traffic, white, green, tiger, departing to the east, climbing 1,000 feet north running. Okay, traffic helicopter 430 hotel, about 4 to the northeast, northeast down 1500, Northcat.
As you can hear, there's no control tower in that airport. And that helicopter pilot was actually announcing his intentions on the Unicom. While we're doing all this, it's probably a good time to enjoy that sunset. So, gonna click this. That sun's gonna disappear pretty quickly. Maybe right in here. There you go. Oops, I gotta make sure that thing is straight. What am I doing?
Australian traffic, white, green, tiger, leaving your airspace to the east 1,000 feet, Luscombe, Australia.
It's not gonna work very well. We're gonna have to do something different here. I'm not a photo man, but I mean, I do have some sense here.
577 Romeo, 12 miles to the west, inbound on the ILS for 8 right.
Yeah, that sun's gonna disappear pretty quickly. Tell you what we're gonna do. We're just gonna hold it like that so you can see the beautiful Floridian sunset, which is coming down pretty rapidly. Okay, we're gonna start a descent as we're watching the sunset on the western coast of Florida. And we can make a radio call too. North County traffic, Luscombe traffic, 15 miles to the north. Landing runway 13, North County traffic. Doing a descent check, we're going to adjust the mixture as necessary. We got to verify we are on the fullest tank. That sun is almost gone. And we're going to put our seat belt on and shoulder harness on. And we're going to look below and make sure we're not descending into anything. Okay, hasta la Winnebago, sun. Looks like that sun hopped on that Winnebago and gone west. Okay, we're back with you here. Looks good enough. Just for the sake of landing.
North County.
We covered
57 Romeo, 9 miles to the west. inbound on the islet for runway 8 right. Okay.
We covered quite a bit of stuff on this flight. As we're descending, we can talk about the required instruments for a VFR flight, which is a flight we're doing right now. In order to fly VFR, you need to have minimum instruments working on board the aircraft. You cannot fly if those instruments are not working. The minimum instruments. Ooh, smells like smoke. This is probably a fire down there. Yeah, there it is. Oil pressure is good, oil temperature is good, that means nothing's coming from the aircraft. The minimum VFR instruments required for a VFR flight are as follows. Airspeed indicator, you need to know how fast you're going. You cannot fly the airplane if you don't know how fast it is over the air. That is a required instrument for a VFR flight. Altimeter is also a required instrument for a VFR flight. Without an altimeter, you don't know how high you are. Well, you're not legal to fly without an altimeter. A compass is a required VFR instrument. Without the compass, we don't know what direction we're going. Looks like we're going heading of 160 on the compass, which is about southeasterly heading. Okay, we need to have fuel gauge. We need to know how much fuel we have on board. So there's got to be a fuel gauge indicator to tell you exactly how much fuel you have.
North County traffic, Cessna Skyhawk 5777 Romeo, 5 miles to the west, inbound on the ILS for runway 8 right, descending out of 1400 North County.
North County traffic, Luscombe traffic is 10 miles to the north, landing runway 13, North County. As far as the engine, you need to have a tach. You need to know exactly how much power you're getting out of that engine. So a tachometer is a required instrument. As far as the engine, you need to have an oil temperature gauge. And that's in order to tell how hot the oil inside the engine is. If it's abnormally hot, you know you have issues, and it will give you an indication that you need to land as soon as practical. Then you have the oil pressure gauge for that engine. The oil pressure gauge will tell you what kind of oil pressure you have on the engine. And that's gonna pretty much wrap it up as far as what instruments need to be working on board an aircraft
traffic, Cessna Skyhawk 5777 Romeo,
VFR flight.
On a 3-mile final on the ILS for runway 8 right, North County.
Let's summarize it. Airspeed required, altimeter required, tachometer is required, oil pressure gauge, oil temperature gauge, and fuel gauge is required, compass is required. And that's pretty much it. Do we need a radio? No. If you're flying out of your backyard, why do you need a radio? Who cares? Who do you need to talk to? It's your own private airstrip. You just go. You need a transponder? No. You're flying out of your backyard, same exact thing. You don't need a transponder. You need an electrical system? No. Who cares? As long as the engine runs and you discussed all the instruments we discussed, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the fuel gauge, you don't need an electrical system. Just pull the prop, let it start, go fly.
5777 Romeo, 1 mile short final on the ILS for runway 8 right, North County.
North County traffic, Luscombe traffic is 7 miles to the northwest. Inbound landing, runway 13, North County.
Okay, traffic 4230 hotels, about 8 to the east, on the GPS 26 left for low approach, full fit with traffic, North County.
Pretty confusing here. We got an ILS 8 right, we got a 26 left helicopter. I'm coming on runway 13. It's quite a miss. But, you know, as long as we can communicate to each other and everybody knows what's going on, it's okay. It's an uncontrolled airport. The winds are calm. Pick a runway you're comfortable with. The one landing on 8 is landing with a headwind. The one that's landing on 26 is landing with a tailwind.
North County traffic, Cessna Skyhawk, rolling on runway 8 right. We're departing to the south. North County.
Not much tailwind.
For a taxiway kilo.
Definitely got a little bit of tailwind in there.
Okay, traffic helicopter 224 Michael. Air taxi direct to the north hangar is crossing 8 route 26 right.
Pre-landing checklist, getting close. We're about 4 minutes from landing. Seatbelt shorter harness is on the right.
Skyhawk 5777 Romeo on departure leg, runway 8 right. We'll be making a turn to the south, departing the area. North County.
Landing lights coming on.
4230 Hotel, 1500 feet, 60 east, inbound on the GPS 26 left, crossing traffic sign, wind out.
North County traffic, Luscombe traffic 4 miles to the northwest. Landing runway 13, North County. Alright, seatbelt is on the right. Fuel is on the proper tank. It's on the fullest tank, which is the left tank. And mixture is rich. Lights are on. Wind velocity and direction. We got wind from 120 at 3. Barely any wind. We're using runway 13 with a little bit of headwind. Pre-landing checklist is complete. Landing checklist, directional control, maintain your approach speed, no flaps on this aircraft. Touchdown at a 3-point attitude or wheel landing, depending on your discretion. Avoid using brakes unless it's an emergency. And that would complete your landing checklist. That was a nice, beautiful evening sunset flight. We're about 31 minutes up in the air, 2 minutes from landing. Sure beats driving. Instead of an hour and a half, we got a 34-minute flight. Much nicer, much more fun too. Too boring. Driving can be too boring. North County traffic, Luscombe traffic on the left base, runway 13, North County traffic. Load up the approach to back it up with a Garmin here, just for situational awareness, so we have a little more view of what's going on here.
Okay, traffic helicopter 4230 Hotel, the 1.5 mile final for the GPS 26 left approach. We'll put it in Mr. Public if traffic allows. We'll give a Luscombe negative contact.
Copy that, Luscombe. We got the traffic on 26. We're going to hold short of runway 26 left there. You're going to have plenty of runway for you. We're currently turning final runway 13 for North County.
Roger that.
North County traffic, Luscombe traffic, 1 mile final, runway 13, landing 13, holding shut, runway 26 left, North County. Okay, if you look out there to your left, you can see the ASTI, which is red and white, which is perfect, stabilized approach. North County traffic, Luscombe traffic, short final, 13 North County. Little bit of back trim, slow it down a little bit. Still on the glide path. Red and white all the way down. Nice and easy. Lights are on.
North County traffic gonna go to 47 Charlie's on the go towards 8 right. 47 Charlie's on the go, double tail or A-bus departing to the northeast.
Alright, there you go. Touching down on the main, directional control, tail's coming down, nice and easy. Throttle back. Let the airplane slow down. Avoid using brakes unless it's an emergency. North County traffic, Luscombe traffic, left turn on Kilo to the ramp, North County traffic.
I'll go to 4230 Hotel, short final 8 right for high final, go Luscombe inside that runway.
Affirmative, we're going to be off the runway here, and we're not going to even touch 8 right to 6 left, so. North County traffic. Okay, he's got the whole runway for himself, and as we discussed,
North County Airport towards north at 600 feet.
We were able to hold short of his runway, touch down on 13, and hold short of 26 left, so no problem at all. Okay, good enough. And we can still see the sunset. Welcome to Palm Beach, Florida. Fuel selectors off, mags are off, radios are off. Electrical instruments coming off. Welcome aboard. Well, everybody watching the tape, enjoy. You gotta learn something every day. Good pilot aviator never stops learning. See ya!